guys, one thing I think we all enjoy is you don't exactly pull back after games based on what you see.
Where do you want to go there? Do you want to hear?
Has that been the approach from the beginning? How's it been back and forth between what you say and how you see?
I'll tell you the beginning. I got great advice, fair advice from Kirk Gaddy Jr., who brought me on. He said, I want you to be fair, I want you to be honest, and I want you to tell me something I don't know. That is from the network. That's about as honest as you can be. That's not, hey, we need you to spin it, we need you to color it up. He was straight and honest with me with that. And then I took it one other level. For me personally, when I'm on air, there's nothing I will say sitting there that I wouldn't say to a guy's face. Because it's too easy to sit there and take shots. And it used to bug me as a player, guys taking shots at me. It's part of the game. And you have to have a thick skin and that type of thing. But I'm in a position to where having more both hats, I won't do it. I think I can be fair and honest without taking cheap shots. I can give my opinion and hit that line and stop rather than that's sort of my government.
Can you guys hear? Everybody can hear? Bob, I have a question about the film. I know it's close now with the increase of the single test, and now the French business come back, going for that record back. How tough is it starting to put together a kick-ass spot where they know what their job is, and they know who's going to be making guys, how important is that for this happening?
It's important, but you always understand with a bullpen, it's a fluid situation, as we've seen this year and other clubs. You know, bullpen is you have more flexibility in your bullpen. Guys do get hurt, guys do fail, and so the roles are a little more interchangeable. Your starting staff is usually that is what it is. With that, at this point of the season, you'd like to have those roles established, but those roles now are not as defined as they used to be, thank goodness, because the pitch count nonsense that was overblown, over the top, has dissipated, and I think it's a pendulum. It's swinging back. Bullshit.
Whoa!
Yeah.
That hit me, that's fine. Throw that. Hit me in the face. I think that's mine.
Incoming.
That's what happens when you speak out of the pitch count.
So I mean that has diminished. So you don't have the game segmented like it used to be. Well, you're gonna start. You're gonna pitch 5. You're gonna pitch a 6th, 7th, which was nonsense. People who didn't play the game made up those rules and ran with them, and it gave them something to sell. People bought it for a while. The game now is evolved into more of, we're going to let that pitcher go a reasonable amount, which is 100, 120, rather than 102 and a half. So you don't have those, he's my 7th, he's my 8th, he's my 8th. You have your 9th. Always have the closer, because the closer is a specialty. That's a guy who, I could never be a closer. Those guys have ice water, they do a job that not many can do. It's special. But the other middle guys, it's much more flexible now. Now you mentioned the left-handed specialist. That is something that's alive and well, and it should be, because the numbers, lefty-lefty, if you check stats, the most difficult matchup is lefty-lefty. It just, for whatever reason. I played the game, I don't know why, but lefty-lefty works. So that rule will always be there, but the other ones are interchangeable, and where Terry's at right now is he's still trying to define that, because having just lost Burdick, because now having brought up Edgin, and Edgin I think is a bit of a hybrid, because I think he can get out righties as well, which is a bonus, which is what you want. So it's an evolution out there. It's a difficult job, and from here on out, he's going to manage this to win these games, but at the same time they're taking notes, because they want to know, as you build your team moving forward, who's going to be part of the equation and who's not.
Yeah. The way he's body, he's got that lower body, it's like a power pitcher. Yeah. Perfect for a power pitcher. What do you see, especially when he drives off that back? Like it's kind of like an old school type of thing as he drives off that back. Yeah. What's your impression so far?
Well, I love the delivery. It's just a classic delivery, as you say. He uses his entire body. Most pitchers do. His is very noticeable. He's a big, strong kid. He's thick. He throws it's a phenomenon. None of us know how to do it, because if we did, we'd do it. He knows how to throw a heavy ball. The ball comes in, it's like throwing a bowling ball. I don't know how they do it. When you play catch with a guy, and I used to as a player, they throw it to you and it hits your glove, and then it just keeps digging in your glove. He has that ability, and with that great delivery, heavy ball, nice movement, and he's a student of the game. A great example of a guy being part of the future.
Well, I've heard a phrase in the last couple of years when they talk about a little cutter, a little slider. Everything seems to be little these days. I was curious, A, like what that means exactly, and B, is that almost a way of saying that, you know, that in the world of pitching, anything that isn't a fastball isn't considered a big pitch?
I think it's just a word, a descriptive word people use. I don't think it's descriptive in so much of it's little, meaning the depth of it. You'll hear he's got a deep slider. It's got some tilt to it. We all know tilt. This is the tilt on the slider. The cutter is a little bit flatter. Cutter's meant to go in and just get off of the barrel and get on the inside the label, if you will. That's the cutter. Cutter's a little bit tighter. So when they say he's got a little cutter, it's just a term that we throw out there. When you have to talk every single day or write every day, as you guys know, sometimes you throw out words, you don't really mean it as what it's written, you mean it's just mildly descriptive.
You see the success like in Texas where they kind of strapped pitching counts. Nolan Ryan told him not to, and then you saw Verlander throw like 130 pitches the other day, in only 8 innings. But why do you think most teams like keep going with the pitch counts when they see success like with Verlander and success in Texas where they kind of strap pitching counts?
Because some teams are slow learners. Some GMs are just, the problem with this game is a lot of people think they've got it figured out. There's no figuring this game out, you try to do your best and from a pitching standpoint, common sense. 100 to 125, 130. That's sort of a common sense range. Now, would I want you to throw 130 every time out? No way. Okay, but on a given day, I watch your delivery. A lot of times, these stat guys who are into 108.3 pitches. They look at a pitcher, but they don't know what they see. Experienced guys like Nolan Ryan, he looks at a pitcher much like a trainer of a racehorse. I can look at 10 horses run. I see 10 horses run. One's faster, that's all I see. When you understand the nuance of the gait of that horse, and you understand the nuance of your delivery, then I can gauge 115 to you, maybe like 80 to him. You see, it's not a cut and dry. You can't cookie cutter individual pitchers or hitters. They're all different. So you have to have an open mind and you have to get to know them. Yes, you have your stats, but the most important thing, and the best scouts and the best GMs like Nolan Ryan, look at his success, is his eyeball.
I know you post game a lot of times praise players aggressive as hitters. So does that kind of play into why you like that in a hitter? Is that specific players on the team that you like to see be more aggressive, or do you think they're all a little too patient?
There again, your approach, it's important your approach is individual for two reasons. One, what makes you tick is different. What makes him tick, him. I don't know what makes you tick, but there's certain guidelines I want you within. But I got to individualize my approach with you. On the flip side of it, I'm an opposing pitcher. I know your approach are all similar. Well, guess what? I'm going to use that against all of you guys. Now I'm not facing 8 bats. I'm facing 2. Okay? So if you all have a varied approach, I have to counter. So I can't lock in and just shut you down, which is what you see when you have blanket approaches. You see? So the individual approach is important for you as an individual, but it's also strategy. I'm making that pitcher think and alter his approach.
Every guy up to
at this level
has the physical ability. How much of that is mental?
I mean, I can throw out any kind of number, but let me tell you this: it's the trump mentally I'm locked into how to get you out, not a scouting report. If I'm mentally locked into reading you, how I'm going to get you out, if mentally I know who I am, you know, I can't quantify it with percentage, but that's all mental, that's not physical. Then I execute the pitch, that's physical. But I have the ability to execute the pitch. I'll still make mistakes, but the mental part of it, I gotta do the mental math before I throw it, and that's what makes the good ones up here really good.
We only have, Steve, we only have a couple minutes left. Just want to make sure everyone gets a chance to ask a question. Okay.
Got a question from Chris. You want to do this? No. Let's do it. So you've become a jack of all trades, covering Rutgers sports, Major League Baseball, a lot of other stuff, talk shows. What's your favorite out of all things to do?
This has been great. This has really been, it's educational day to day because, you know, I watch the game like you guys. You sit and you kind of watch the game with Bob and you really see, you know, I realize I don't see nearly as much as I think I do. I think from that standpoint, this has been a lot of fun, and you know what? It was a great challenge for me because I never even remotely thought about TV. Why would I? But you know, I think it was. It's been. I don't want to even say I've been surprised by it, but I really have been because it's been a blast.
Randy, you good? One more, Jason.
You have a serious range of pitchers and been a pitching coach. You continue to dissect pitching and what you do now. You know, look at you say Denise's performance last night. You know, you had some things to say about approach and the mental aspect of the game. Now, do you have an avenue for bringing that to the pitcher? Is that something that you just cannot do in that situation? Or if there is an avenue, how do you
Opposite field power, right?
those things to his attention?
You know what? Pitching coaches are invested in their guys so much, and they know their guys better than I do in the casual thing. I know the overall picture because I watch every game, but that's not my role or my place. You know, so that's one of those things. Now, if somebody asks me a question, if one of the guys asks me a question, I'll gladly answer. They do that. Sometimes.
Shannon.
Bobby, I felt like when you played, you could switch from the American League to the National League and kind of really turn it up and dominate the first league. Tudor switched the league. Was there something to that, or am I just thinking of two guys and you think it still holds?
I think if you had success, people said, oh, well, he switched leagues. A lot of guys switched leagues and failed, but we forget about them. So it's become a cliche, oh, well, you know, he's new to the league. Nonsense. I still have to execute pitches. Now, was there a difference back then, more breaking balls in the American League and more fastballs in the National League? Perhaps. I don't know. I've never seen anything to quantify it. It's one of those things we kind of think happen, but as far as like switching leagues, having success, I would guarantee it more failed. But a guy who had success, wow, switch leagues.
All right.
I know these guys got to get ready for the pregame show.
Anybody have any other questions?
I get one follow-up? Sure. Go back to the World Cup, and that's the part of it.
Steve Key pretty much asked everything. You just sit back and watch.
He was terrific. Right. Yes. And even when the Mets played with over, 3 other teams had playing games. Right. What is the difference between New York and New AAA coming up here and succeeding that?
They see this big yard, these big lights, all these people, it can overwhelm guys. Because honest to God, players are just, we're all saying, these guys are just like Little League. They're the same thing. Some get nervous, some get more nervous, some can care less. Some have so much talent that it's easy. Most are somewhere in the middle, but you get here and you have to handle the nerves. You have to handle the environment. You have to handle the pressure. And that, sometimes, for some guys, it's too much.
You mentioned kind of the distribution of pitches in the past. Do you get into pitch effects stuff at all now with the current pitchers? Are you looking at some of the Mets pitchers? Are you looking at that on what they throw and how often they throw it?
I do, because there's validity to it to a certain extent, but at the same time, at the major league level, you shouldn't be working on anything other than getting people out. Okay? On any given day, all I want to do is get you out. I don't want to throw 15 sliders because I'm supposed to throw 15 sliders.
Right.
I don't give a shit. I want to get you out. If I need to throw sliders, I'll go in my bullpen in the day after, and I'll work on my slider, and eventually work it into the game. Or I'll throw it when it's not expensive. 2 outs, nobody on. Maybe just flip one in there just for fun, against some lousy hitter, just to see. And if it gets a hit, big deal. I got, maybe the pitcher up next. So I'll throw it.